profiling. It wasn't just harsher sentencing. Communities of color are also policed more harshly.
One of the few memories I have of my dad as a kid is seeing him yelled at and questioned by police on the street. And when they didn't like the answers he was giving them to their questions, they proceeded to aggressively question me. And I was just 8 years old.
Policies like Show Me Your Papers and Stop and Frisk target people of color under the law. Totally legal. So shocker, they're much more likely to get arrested for doing the same things that white people do, but twice as likely to get pulled over. Take the late Walter Scott, who was pulled over for having a broken taillight, only to be shot 5 times in the back by a cop. Stop 6, police brutality. Police brutality is front and center of the race conversation right now. Twice a week in the U.S., white officers kill black suspects, most of whom are unarmed. And the consequences are minimal, if any. Might even get paid a bunch of money for it. The police themselves admit to widespread usage of excessive force and racial bias. So what does America do? Oh, just give them military supplies, of course. Tanks, protective gear, firepower used in war, all the while wagging a finger at protesters that dare to be outraged by it. Sadly, this is all just the tip of the racism iceberg. We really need to ask ourselves, what's really causing the problems that we're observing in America? What advantages has white America been given, often without even realizing it? The first step in combating racism, and often the hardest step, is acknowledging it. Acknowledging that the system is unfair. Racism is a powerful institution built by 400 years of slavery, 100 years of outright discrimination, 50 plus more years of covert discrimination. A legacy that long in the making doesn't just disappear overnight. America, we got a lot of work to do. Links down below to some voices that you should definitely be following, as well as sources and lots more information for your thirsty brains. Lots of love.
She just broke it down about what I've been trying to say. And I'm not saying that black people as a whole cannot get out of their situation. They can. You know, we could, if we all work together as one, which some of us don't want to do, we could if we move as a unit. But the thing is that she's right on the money about all that. And what strikes me about some of these bigots, and not even bigots, I call these people ignorant, is that they think that everything that black people complain about is actually about wealth. That's in these days and time, that's not even what black people even complain about. They mostly complain about how the cops treat them and police brutality. You know, honestly, tell you the truth, black people have got over a little bit over economics, because we just feel like no matter what we do, it's still gonna discriminate. So we better just get our own economical system. You know, so we over that. It's not even about that anymore. We don't see no black people protesting about not having the same wealth as white people. It's about police brutality and about how they treat us as human beings. So when I see some of these ignorant people talk about, oh, y'all just mad because y'all can't get y'all shit together as far as finances, you know what I'm saying? And y'all just don't want to work and y'all just want to collect welfare. No, who's complaining? Who actually black people complain about in these days about that? Maybe in the '60s they did. In the '60s they were complaining about the injustice with discrimination and everything like that. But these days, black people these days, like, you know what, the hell with that. If you still going to discriminate us and everything, we just find our own system. But the problem is that we still getting harassed while we trying to just do our own thing. You know, by the media, you know, by stereotyping us, by the cops who some already have biases in their brains, by senators that's racist, who won't put in laws in the place that hold black people back, and you know, that's the problem. You know, it ain't about this. It's about the economy anymore. We got over that. Most of us got over that. We know that we can find a way to make money. You know what I'm saying? In some kind of way. If that wasn't the case, then we wouldn't have rappers and athletes right now, as millionaires, and other TV stars and other people who actually now doctors and black lawyers. We got over that. We got over the racist part when it comes to economy. When it comes to economics, we got over that. We just said the hell with it. But what we can't get over is when we still being harassed and being bullied by a system who think that we are inferior because they think that we should be back enslaved. That's what this is about. This is when racism really started in America. It was about us being free from slavery, our ancestors. This is why all the Jim Crow laws and all these other laws came into place, like incarceration for and for stupid drug offenses. It's all to put us back into. They want us back enslaved. They think that black people should be working. When I hear people complain about black people getting stuff for free, which how most of us don't. Affirmative action, boss. By the way, when I hear stuff like that about affirmative action, it makes me cringe. Because some of the stuff that they complain about is like, oh, they getting free education. And I'm saying to myself, but you turned around and say that black people don't want to educate themselves. So why you mad that they getting free education? That affirmative action get some black people, not all, free education? Oh, I know why. Because actually, you don't want anybody to look like you getting free education. That's what it comes down to. Because you want us to work with scraps. When I hear people talk about, well, you just need to work hard and be appreciated what you got, that sounds like a slave master. That's what slave masters did. They gave us scraps and said, "So you work what we give you." So if we give you scraps of food, you work with that and make some food out of it. That doesn't sound right to me. It don't. All right? Nobody should be working with scraps. In America, everybody should be treated equally. And you talking about working with scraps, expect somebody to have a bogus educational system, expect them to still learn. They don't work like that. All right? And black people these days only complain about education and mostly police brutality. That's it. Nobody economics. Come on, man. So and just the fact that some of these people still see us as inferior and see us as animals, and even though technically we supposed to be by scientific terms we supposed to be all animals, even human beings. The fact is that we don't, as human beings, we don't consider ourselves animals the way that other animals are. So therefore, but that you should have a group of people that see black people as the same as a chimpanzee, or an ape, and that's crazy. But don't see themselves as the same thing, and that's the problem. So when it comes to this racism stuff, I don't like it. And like I said before, this is not saying that all white people are racist. And I'm not saying no. To be a racist, you gotta practice white supremacy. That's how I feel. And not all white people practice white supremacy. There's a lot of good white people out here who don't even tolerate racism at all. Just like there's some black people who just as racist as white people who think that we should just not even deal with people at all that don't look like us. And I can't agree with that. I can't agree with that. I can't. Now if you talking about now like building an economy for black communities and everything, and as far as like coming together as black people and trying to build our own communities, I could dig that. But to sit back and say, oh well, we just gotta not deal with anybody else. I mean that what's the difference between that and what white people do? White racists do. I don't see the difference. When whites only and all this stuff, I can't. So what I'm saying is that racism got to stop. It does nothing to America but harm America. So do classism. So do sexism. So do tribalism. So do culturalism. And I want to break it down to culturalism too. Reason why I say culturalism, because a lot of people don't understand what I mean. Well, I know this Dominican dude, right? Dominican. He's talking to me. But for some reason, he don't want to have nothing to do with me. Not because the fact is not because we both black, because he's Dominican, he's from the Dominican Republic. So he feel like we don't have to trade cultures, and and he should stay. I stay over here and you stay over there. Like what's that about? And especially when we both black, that makes no sense. Yeah, I said it. We are. Yeah. He's black, and don't forget that. There's white Dominicans, and there's black Dominicans, and there's indigenous Dominicans. There's some that's mixed with all that. which in America they just be called black. But you understand what I'm saying? Like that culturalism and all that travel, all that stuff gotta cease for America to be and just be one American culture. You know, we can still have. Don't get me wrong. We still can hold. You know, have what I say like still embrace our heritage. I mean, there's nothing wrong with embracing heritage. I'm gonna embrace my African heritage. Just like I want to embrace my other heritage too. You know what I'm saying? That's you know, so there's no reason, you know, that you can't. But at the same time, you don't supposed to use your heritage against other people who have a different heritage. When you're both supposed to be American citizens. And that's the only thing I'm trying to say. You know, we should treat each other like American citizens. You know, and I know some people be like, well, you know, your ancestors really wasn't American because the fact is, in America is really a white man's founded by white people. Okay, I get you. I give you that. But guess what? My ancestors been over here between 250 to 500 years. Through all that, my DNA makeup, my genetic makeup, been over here between 250 to 500 years. I'm sorry, and that goes with every other Black American who came from slavery. We've been on this side of the planet between 150 to 500 years before we was free, and after we was free. So I cannot sit back and say, "Oh, I'm not American," because you know. Because my ancestors came from Africa. Most of them came from Africa, and this land this country was made by white people. I mean, without us, America would have been built the way it is. The economy would not be strong the way it is. Not only through slavery, but also just being treated as second class citizens, and allow other people to move forward. Until we said no, enough is enough. And said we need to be treated equally. You know? So I'm just as American as anybody else on this side, in this country. I'm sorry. 500 years, don't want to hear about I'm not American. With my genetic makeup, and when I mean my genetic makeup, I'm talking about all my ancestors been here for close to 500 years. I don't want to hear it. That, you know how many generations that is right there? That's like over 20 generations right there. Of my ancestors, my genetic makeup, and I'm talking about ancestors being in this country. Nah. I consider myself American, Black American. You know, but American first, and that's how we all should think. American first. If we was born here, and then we say, "Yo, well, this is where my ancestors came from," but American first. And until we stop racism and all the other, and classism and everything. It's not going to be a true American. True America. It's not. You know? It's not. And to all y'all black people out here who try to convince me that I'm just straight African. No, my ancestors came from Africa. I was born here in America. And guess what? The reason why I say that, because if I was to take my ancestors, remember, I'm back. If y'all don't remember the story, back in the 19th century, there's a bunch of free blacks that actually left America to move back to Africa, to start a country named Liberia. You know what the Native Africans was calling them? They was calling them the American colonizers. So why should I sit back and say I'm gonna call I'm African and not say I'm American? Nah, I'm American, but African descent. How about that? You know, but I'm just black. I'm just American. Simple and plain. I mean, stop all this racism and colorism and all that. Stop it, man. Stop it. You got anything to say, Ash Hawkins, before we go back to some music and then go?
Yo, all I gotta say is TGIF. Thank God.